fission to produce electric power. Half a world away, physicists at Los Alamos, New Mexico are on the same quest, using the radioactive uranium of the American West to set off the world's first nuclear weapon. But the Germans have their own atomic genius, Nobel Prize winner Werner Heisenberg. Heisenberg and his team call themselves the Uranium Club, but the German army has other plans for the atom smashers. In early 1945, neither the U.S. military nor researchers know anything about the state of nuclear capability in Germany. A secret U.S. project, codenamed Operation Alsos, is established to find out if the German atomic bomb project exists. Outside the city of Stuttgart, beneath a castle in Haigerloch, Alsos agents discover an atomic reactor in a stone cellar. And uranium cubes hidden in a field nearby. They take the evidence back to the United States for further investigation. Months earlier, at this same medieval castle, clandestine shipments of heavy water, a key ingredient to nuclear power, arrive here from Nazi-occupied Norway, despite valiant attempts from the Norwegian resistance to prevent it from ever reaching Germany. A secret code reveals the amount of deuterium inside each transferred barrel. Deuterium, an isotope of hydrogen, makes water about 10% heavier. The Nazis plan to combine this shipment of heavy water with the cubes of uranium to begin the nuclear age. On every front, from stealth technology to nuclear power, Hitler's push for scientific success is fueled by the Nazi dream of a global Reich, a German empire lasting 1,000 years, where a massive railway system connects main power centers from Siberia to Moscow, Paris, and Berlin. Berlin, the capital, is to be renamed Germania. The dominant high-tech centerpiece of a new world order. But by March 1945, the dream is fading fast, and Hitler is growing desperate. With Allied forces closing in on Germany, only a wonder weapon can save the Third Reich. But at the Trinity site in the New Mexico desert, it's America who proves the power of the atomic bomb.
What the Allies were very much interested in when the war was at its end was, what about the German atomic bomb? How far did they come? This was the final question. And so they decided to put the 10 leading atomic scientists together in Farm Hall near Cambridge. And there in Farm Hall they were bugged. And the outcome was that obviously the Germans first had no atomic bomb, and second had also, in the end, not a clue about the function of the atomic bomb.
But what about the Nazi wonder weapons that did come to pass? And where do they live on today? The world's first cruise missile, first long-range ballistic missile, first guided surface-to-air missile, first anti-ship missiles, even the world's first closed-circuit TV, the world's first operational jet fighter and jet bomber.
Aerodynamics in Germany, there were a small group of people who were very, very advanced. And there is some sort of a special genius about them.
Countless designs, years ahead of their time. Secret sites wholly dedicated to science. Backed by propaganda, boasting German money and fearful enemies. How could Hitler's plan for wonder weapons fail?
In Germany, virtually everything was a secret. So any science was a secret. It hurt the Germans more than it hurt us. They also had a very, very confining security system. And so there was not the cross-feed that you get in a good scientific community. You had enthusiasts building dreams, but without adequate resources. You had people making decisions about resources who had no idea about the projects. And at the top, you had Hitler making the final decisions on many things upon which he had only partial information.
Such controlled secrecy slowed wartime production to a devastating degree.
The Germans ultimately produced about 1,300 Me-262s, of which they got 300 in combat. And at the time, we were putting 1,000 bombers and 1,000 fighters over Germany in a day.
The Third Reich nurtures hundreds of deadly inventions. But to roll them out and win the war, they'd have to prioritize a mere handful of wonder weapons and mass-produce these by the thousands. Thankfully, they lacked the production methods, materials, and the management required. Had Germany focused on defense, more strategically chosen her ammunition, and greatly increased production of these specific weapons, the outcome of the war might have been very different.
That would have made invasion in 1944 very difficult, probably problematic. It made probably an invasion put off until 1945, and it's even conceivable that the war might have ended with the first atomic bomb being dropped on Germany instead of upon Japan.
But that didn't happen. In 1945, the Nazi dream is finally destroyed by Allied bombs. Hitler and his adjutant Himmler commit suicide. At the Nuremberg trials, the Nazis face their own death sentence. The entire world now learns of the unspeakable horror of concentration camps and the depth of Hitler's dark dreams of domination. Dreams that would reach far beyond Europe. Attacks on America had been planned since 1939. In this inventive German newsreel, the Nazis focus abundant long-range air power on the United States as part of the planned America Bomber Project.
Had the Germans been able to develop and deploy their America Bomber program to bring the war to the mainland of the United States, I think it might have had some impact on American strategic doctrine.
Especially if these bombings had been nuclear.
I mean, the only result the German Air Force could achieve was to send a handful of very long-range bombers over the Atlantic and to drop, say, 12 tons of bombs on New York or Washington.
None of the German vengeance weapon programs, and certainly not the America Bomber, would have had any chance of its intended effect without a nuclear weapon.
In the end, Adolf Hitler never sets foot in New York. But the head of Hitler's secret science program does cross the Atlantic and changes the course of history. In 1945, as American and Soviet troops close in on Berlin, rocket genius Wernher von Braun and a small group of his most loyal associates must choose their destiny: surrender to the Russians, take cyanide, or align with the Allies.